You have 7 seconds to make a first impression, and science shows that most people actually judge you in less than 3. And the scary part is that once an impression is made, it's often impossible to change. Hi, my name is Electra Ndukwe, and in this third episode of the Perception Management series, I'm going to be diving into the psychology of first impressions. So grab a seat and let's get into it. So, what are first impressions? First impressions are your brain's snap judgments. They're fast, they're emotional, and they are mostly unconscious. Because you see, the brain had to evolve to make quick assessments like, is this a friend or a foe? Is this a threat or not? Is this high status or low? So having evolved to make these quick assessments, we have unconsciously imbibed the wiring, so to speak, to do this with people and places and things. But these are not just assumptions. There's actual science behind first impressions. So let's get into it. The first is something psychologists call thing slicing. It's the brain's ability to make quick judgments with very little information. Another work that's been done in the field of the science behind first impressions is Daniel Kahneman's System 1 thinking research. This research shows how something he calls System 1, our fast intuitive brain, the fast and intuitive part of our brain, how it just takes over, how it doesn't analyze stuff, it just reacts. The third is confirmation bias. It's a theory, a now proven theory about how when people make snap judgments about something, they look for supporting data that would confirm what they've already assumed or believed about a subject instead of something that would challenge it. So basically, when people form an impression, they look for supporting data that support that impression they have about something, not data that challenges it. And this is why it is hard to undo a bad first impression. Now, what do people actually judge and fast? Let's consider 5 subconscious questions that people ask within 30 seconds of meeting you. The first is, can I trust you? Are you warm? The second is, are you competent? What are your capabilities, at least as far as I can tell from what I'm seeing or what I've heard about you? The third, are you confident? What's your posture saying? What's your tone saying? What's your presence saying? The fourth, do you belong here? Your style, your relevance, your authority, all of which comes through in visual elements that surround you or the situation. How you're dressed, how you carry yourself, right? And the fifth is, do you see me? Eye contact, emotional attunement. People ask these 5 questions subconsciously within 30 seconds, actually. And these are the questions that would ultimately determine what impression anyone is going to have of you. These judgments are not based on your intent. They are actually based on your energy, your presence, and your non-verbal communication. And to have an idea of how these things come into play, think of how posture changes the dynamics in a room. Let's say you walk into a room, let's say you walk into an office, more often than not, it's easier to tell who's the boss and who's the subordinate, right? Why? Because of posture, because of body language, because of, presence, because of authority, because of style, even. I know there are exceptions to that rule, but you understand what I'm saying. So, how do you master first impressions? You dress for the narrative you want to lead. I know you've heard this 1,000 times. Dress how you want to be addressed. It is not a cliche. It's the truth. Your clothes aren't just about style. They tell people how to treat you. You look unkept. You dress like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. You see that reflecting how people treat you. You dress like you are on top of your stuff. You're on top of your game. You know what you're saying. You know what you're doing. You see that reflecting how people treat you as well. So dress for how you want to be seen. Dress for the narrative you want to lead. 2, your presence, right? What's your presence saying? Are you making eye contact? What's your posture saying? Are you slouching or are you walking tall? You have to learn to own a room without necessarily saying a word. And how you do that is with your presence. Your straight spine, your direct eye contact, but you're not staring people down. That, you're looking directly into people's eyes. Your stare is direct. You are not looking sideways. It makes you look like a shifty person. Are you a shifty person? You're not looking sideways. You're not avoiding eye contact. You're looking directly at people. You're communicating strongly. You're not making people think you're looking for where to hide. You're not making people think you are, you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. No, you're walking straight. You're talking. You're standing straight, standing tall. You are making eye contact. You are cultivating a powerful presence when you do that. And that is one way you determine what kind of first impressions you're going to make. The third is your energy. You have to be conversant with this. Your energy speaks louder than words. What people feel about you is more important than what you say. What they can sense about you is more important than what you say. And it's ultimately what they sense that will influence how they see you. And this is because your mood leaks. If people sense uncertainty and self-doubt, you will come across as not confident. They will sense it even before you open your mouth. So you want to be careful of that. Fourth, the power of your name. This is another important factor. When you're introducing yourself, own your name. Say your name like it's the most important name in the world and stand 10 toes down. Don't whisper your name. Don't suggest your name. Don't sound like you're not sure of what your name is. Don't like, own your name. When you're introducing yourself, introduce yourself strong. Hi, my name is this, right? Make it strong. Own it and make it easy to remember. And then the fifth tip, smile with confidence. Smile with purpose, not performatively, not, don't smile because you feel you have to. It looks fake, we can tell. No, smile with purpose. You're just trying to show that, hey, I'm a pleasant person, right? So remember that you need to smile, and this is particularly important for those of us who have resting bitch faces. If you're like me, say hi in the comments. Some of us have to be reminded to smile because unconsciously we're frowning, and you scare people away because they're like, oh my God, what's going on with this person? So you have to remember to smile, right? And smile with purpose. Don't smile because you feel you have to. Smile because you know that you want to. You want to portray a pleasant expression. You want to create the impression that you're happy to be there. You're happy to be doing whatever it is you're doing that you need to create the impression for. So remember that your smile is important. And we see real world scenarios where this is important. Let's imagine you're going for a job interview. Let's imagine you're going for a first date. Let's even consider those of us that are online. What first impression do you want to make, with anyone who comes across you, whether online or in person? Your interview, how do you want to come across? You understand that this is like the most relatable scenario that I can think of. A lot of people walk into job interviews looking like they don't know why they are there. They are not sure they want to be there, or they're not sure if they should be there. And so when you do that, you're giving your potential employers the impression that you are not very confident. And for jobs that require confidence, especially in sales, especially in client-facing positions, you understand how debilitating that could be towards your chances. Let's also consider first dates, networking. People will automatically form an impression about you, and you want that impression to be the right impression. So how you're talking, how you're carrying yourself, how you're introducing yourself, how you are just existing in that space, even if you're not talking, all of it will ultimately influence the impression you make. And so you want to be sure that all of these factors are saying what you want said. So I think the goal then becomes that you predetermine the impression you want to make. Have a clear vision in your head about the impression you want to make, and then work with that. Let it come through in your posture, in your tone. Let it come through in your facial expression. Let it come through in your clothes, your style, how you're dressed. Let it come through in how you're carrying yourself, right? All of these factors ultimately determine how you are perceived by people who are meeting you for the first time. And you are always making an impression. The question is, are you intentional about what kind of impression you want to make? And I think you should be intentional. And even though first impressions don't ultimately guarantee success, they determine, however, if you will even have the chance to succeed. It gets your foot in the door. That's what first impression does. Before you can then come into the room and say what you need to say. First impressions get you through the door first. And so I'll leave you with this. If you want to be unforgettable, it starts with what people feel about you in the first few seconds of coming in contact with you. And this is the end of this video. My name is Electra Ndukwe. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more episodes of the Perception Management series. And feel free to follow us on all our social media pages so you can be updated on our content. See you in my next one. Bye.